Okay, so I have my puppet here ready to go. He's got his positive leads on the inside here, his negative leads on the outside. We have a popsicle stick with its tape rolled up on one side on the top so that it can connect to these positive leads here. But first, I always like to test and see to make sure that everything's working okay. So I'm going to take my 3-volt battery, put its casing on the inside, and test with a flap to the opposite side. Don't do this with your large battery pack. There we go. Don't do this with your large battery pack because you will blow out your LEDs, okay? These little 3mm LEDs don't want the full 6 volts of electricity given to them. Now, I'm taping my popsicle stick down, and I want to make sure that's a nice firm connection. Again, I'm just going to be cautious and test this. It's working over there. And it's working over there. Okay. These wooden puppets aren't always forgiving if some of your connections don't work because they don't have the give that the paper puppets do. So I like to test a lot. Put some tape down to hold my popsicle stick in place so I don't break those connections. And now I'm going to tape over to the LEDs. Or to the negative leads. I'm sure with my fingernails to push down on either side of that lead to make sure I have a nice firm connection. Okay, now we test it out with our battery. This battery has a bit of copper tape on the negative side and a flap that goes around to the positive side. And there we have a lit puppet, okay, with some glowing eyes. Now, what else can we do with him? What I'm going to do is create 2 flaps of tape that go off the bottom of him so that we can plug him into our breadboard. So what we want to do is just rip a little bit of the tape, expose a little bit of the tape, and put that on here. That way we don't worry about those 2 connecting with each other. And as always, I test this with my battery. Positive is on the bottom, negative is on the top, and it lights. Okay. Now I want to get this hooked up to my breadboard. Remember I said we don't want to hook this up to our giant battery pack because it'll blow out the LEDs. We're just going to solve that by adding some resistors here. So we've got our battery pack hooked up. I'm going to get a jumper carrying over to from the ground over to column 30. And I'm going to get a resistor. We'll do a 220 resistor going from the positive to 29. And then I'm going to make use of my alligator clips with the male jumper ends to connect this to my robot. So I'm going to put the blue in 30 where the ground is and connect that to my negative. I'm going to put the yellow in the 29 where the positive is. I'm going to connect that to my positive. And hopefully this guy will light up. There we go. So he's now lit. Okay, now I can take my resistor out and replace it with a photoresistor. And then I can make his eyes go lighter and darker. I can also hook him up to my 555 timer, but I will let you figure that out on your own.